Hello everyone, my name is AI Reina, but feel free to call me Reina-chan. First off, I just want everyone to know that I am a huge fan of anime and manga. With that in mind, welcome to WAW Anime News and Review. We have a packed schedule full of anime goodies for you today, ranging from new upcoming anime releases for this spring session of 2022 such as Science Fell in Love, So I Tried to Prove It R=1 Sin, Aharen is Indecipherable, The Rising of the Shield Hero, and with many more scheduled to come out this April, as well as other animes that will come out later in the year. Let's begin with the first batch of animes that were just aired this spring session, starting with Science Fell in Love, So I Tried to Prove It R=1 Sin. This is a sequel from the same series, and when we last saw our beautiful Ayam Himuro and Shinya Yukimura, we saw them last in Okinawa with a dramatic climax in the last episode leading to a passionate kiss between the two of them. Now they're back at it again trying to prove scientifically that the two of them are in fact both in love with each other. Himuro and Yukimura are dead set on gathering evidence to support their feelings, leading to smooching under the pretense of science. They want to kiss and cuddle, and thankfully the two of them find a way under the premise of a scientific pretense. The story shake things up by adding the saliva-obsessed courtesan, Suyu, and Chris, her love-struck English boyfriend. They are passionately in love, and have been dating for 4 years. With their help will Ayam Himuro and Shinya Yukimura finally be able to prove that they love each other, or was it all a giant placebo effect due to the experiment? I really can't wait to find out what happens to these two. Next up is a new anime debuting for its first time. It is another comedy romance named Aharen is Indecipherable. After watching the first episode, I was immediately hooked on this anime, even though I was already sold because of the manga. The premise of the story focuses on a small, cute girl with silver hair named Reina Aharen who has a quiet voice and is very bad at determining distance and personal space. Sometimes she's inches away from your face, and at other times, miles too far. The only one who tries to understand her is her classmate that sits next to her, Reida Matsubashi, a high schooler that has a somewhat menacing face, but in reality, he is a kind boy who wants to make friends. He does so by greeting his seat neighbor Reina Aharen, and immediately, to him, is given the cold shoulder. He tries constantly throughout the day to greet her, and to start to have a conversation. Though their odd friendship starts to blossom when Matsubashi picks up Aharen's eraser for her. She misinterprets his gesture and now believes them to be best friends, showing how the simplest of things can prove to be the most complicated of challenges for them. This series is going to be such a roller coaster ride full of their hijinks. I simply can't wait to see more of Aharen and Matsubashi as their friendship grows, and not to mention the nice little ominous cliffhanger at the end of episode 1. Moving on to the next anime, The Executioner and Her Way of Life. This one has somewhat of a darker vibe to it. The basic premise of this anime is that a specialized group of individuals are tasked with assassinating otherworlders called the Lost Ones that were summoned from the world of Japan, and to eliminate them before calamity befalls their world. This unfortunate task falls onto Menu, a young executioner. But when she meets Akari, it seems like just another job, until she discovers it's impossible to kill this girl. And when Menu begins to search for a way to defeat this immortality, Akari is more than happy to tag along. So begins a journey that will change Menu forever. This series is right up my alley for a good fantasy adventure that we learn more about the characters as they go about their everyday lives. Lastly, one of the most anticipated animes of this spring season is The Rising of the Shield Hero Season 2. Now Fumi, Raftalia, Philo, and Melty are back in action, and with the upcoming Spirit Turtle arc looming before them, it is even more imperative that now Fumi finds a way to get all 3 cardinal heroes to work together against the Spirit Turtle that threatens the kingdom. Most that we can see from the first episode is the restoration of the village where Raftalia is from, and it has now become the home for the Shield Hero. But upon hearing about the Spirit Turtle from the Queen, now Fumi and his fellow party members embark to find a way to stop the Spirit Turtle, and to convince the other 3 cardinal heroes to join in the fight. I kind of feel sorry for now Fumi for having to constantly babysit the 3 other cardinal heroes. I can't wait to see how Season 2 leads into the 3rd. Moving on, we will be looking at the top 10 overall ranking of the winter anime season of 2022 by looking at Anime Corner ranking. Starting in the 10th place, we have Rust Eater Bisco. The synopsis of the story takes place in a post-apocalyptic Japan, where a plague-light wind blows across the lands, turning everything living and non-living into sand and rust in its wake. A probable cause for this catastrophic state of the world is believed to come from mushroom spores. Now this leads us to our main character Bisco Ackerbys, known as the man-eating mushroom. He is a wanted criminal archer whose arrows instantly grow mushrooms wherever they land. However, he is in truth a mushroom protector, a person who spreads fungi in order to enrich the land and return it to its previous state. Alongside the crab Akutagawa and young Dr. Milo Nikoyanagi, Bisco ventures through the wastelands of Japan searching of the legendary sabikui, a Panacean mushroom that is said to devour all forms of rust. Now that's an interesting plot. Coming in 9th place is Arafurita, From Commonplace to World's Strongest Season 2. This was one of the more highly anticipated anime of the 2022 winter season. The story basically deals with Hajime Nagamo and his high school class that were transported to a new world and were given the task of defeating the Demon Lord. But during one of their expeditions into the Great Orcus Labyrinth, Hajime was betrayed by one of his classmates, sending him down to the bottom of the labyrinth for dead. Fortunately, he survives his ordeal and managed to fight his way through the labyrinth and meets an imprisoned vampire named Yui who also wants to leave the labyrinth. Once Hajime and Yui made it out of the labyrinth, they eventually met a bunny girl named Shay and a dragon named Tio, who eventually joins their party as they continue their journey to find a way back to Japan. At the end of Season 1, Hajime rescues a young mermaid child named Mayu and promises her that he will reunite her with her mother. This best summarizes the events that happened in the first season. So in Season 2, after saving his classmates, he ventures for Arisen to escort Mayu to her mother as he continues to find a way home back to Japan, and he will defeat anyone that tries to stop him, including a god. This series had such a good finale, and leaving it fairly open for a continuation. Now in the number 8 spot we have Ackerbys' Sailor Uniform. This is such a heartwarming slice of life and school anime that I recommend for everyone. The story revolves around the first-year middle school student named Ackerby Kamiki, who lives out in the countryside with her family. She's won entrance to the prestigious Rubai Academy Middle School for girls, and now she wants only 2 things. One is to wear the same sailor uniform as her mother did and to make 100 friends starting with her classmates. This was just such a heartwarming anime from a lonely girl wanting nothing more than having friends around to play and talk with. Moving on to the 7th spot is The Genius Prince's Guide to Raising a Nation Out of Debt. The story focused on the prince named Wayne, and he is ready to commit treason as he tries desperately to sell off his country. How can you blame him when facing impossible tasks of ruling a small little kingdom in the north, and he just can't get a break? But with his brilliant idea of auctioning off his country, this lazy prince should be able to retire once and for all, until his treasonous schemes lead to disastrous consequences, namely, accidental victories and the favor of his people. This guy just can't get a break. Thankfully he has Ninem to console him in his moments of woe. Next, in the 6th place is Life with an Ordinary Guy Who Reincarnated into a Total Fantasy Knockout. This is a great comedy romance, if you can call it that. The story revolves around 2 friends that are in their 30s, one is dull, and the other is handsome. Due to some unforeseen circumstances, these 2 were summoned to another world by a naked goddess. However, because of the goddess's mischief, she turns one of the friends into a beautiful short and flat-chested blonde with the ability to charm any man. So, in order for him to get his body back to normal, these 2 friends embark on a journey to defeat the Demon King, before the 2 of them fall deeply in love with each other due to the goddess of love's curse upon them. Now that is what I call up battle against time. Taking 5th place is lovable comedy romance, Teasing Master Takagisen Season 3. This is the 3rd continuation of the anime Teasing Master Takagisen. The premise of the story revolves around a middle school boy named Nishikata's and his classmate Takagi, who loves to tease him on a daily basis, and she uses her extensive knowledge of his behavior to predict exactly how he will react to her teasing, making it nearly impossible for Nishikata to ever make a successful comeback. Despite this, Nishikata vows to someday give Takagi a taste of her own medicine by making her blush out of embarrassment from his teasing. This was just such a sweet comedy romance, but fortunately anyone that reads manga already knows what happens to these 2 teasing lovebirds. Now coming in 4th place is my all-time favorite for the winter season, My Dress-Up Darling. I was hoping this would place higher on the ranking, and once you know what the story is about, you would put it at the top of the list too. The story takes place with a young high schooler named Wakana Goju who loves to make Hina dolls, but due to a childhood trauma, with one of his friends calling him creepy for liking dolls, he ends up isolating himself and focusing more on his dolls and trying to perfect the craft, just like his grandpa. Then one day when Goju was in the sewing room working on one of his Hina dolls at school, he is spotted by the beautifully cheerful, never one to be shy Marine, Upon finding out that Goju could sew, she asks for his help in making one of her dreams a reality, and that is to become a cosplayer, and to dress up as her favorite anime characters. Upon seeing her passion for anime and acknowledging his hobby for Hina dolls, Goju agrees to help the highly attractive Marine to become her favorite anime characters. Thus begins the start of a beautiful awkwardly pervy romance between these two high schoolers while bonding over sewing and anime. I seriously thought I was going to see sparkles for weeks after watching this comedy romance anime. Now coming in the third spot is the case study of the Vanitas Part 2. The story continues with Vanitas and No, archivist head to the town of Gavadan in search of the beast, an enormous wolf-like creature that has slaughtered hundreds of people. Suspecting that the beast is a curse-bearing vampire, Vanitas primarily aims to heal it using the powers of his grimoire. Along the way, the two get separated and suddenly travel back to the past to the exact moment the beast is lurking in the woods. After a battle against the gigantic wolf and a vampire hunter, Vanitas decides to team up with Jean in order to find No. Despite being allies, Jean's goal is the opposite of Vanitas, as she was tasked to kill the beast. Moreover, it is possible that it's someone she used to know. Elsewhere, No is picked up by a mysterious vampire named Chloe Diakshir and her servant. She has been a guardian for past generations, and once tried to find a way to become human again. While No is grateful to Chloe for her hospitality, little does he know that she might be siding with forces far more dangerous than the beast itself. This story does a very good job keeping you on your toes. I hope you guys watch all the way up to the end. Now coming in second place, the all-time popular Demon Slayer Entertainment District arc. This is a continuation after the Demon Slayer movie, Mugen Train. The basic plot follows Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke, who aided a Hashira named Tenjin Uzui, as they investigate the red light district Yoshiwara to hunt down a demon that has been terrorizing the town. This was an excellent and action-packed arc for the anime Demon Slayer, especially when we got to see our badass and cute Nezuko completely trash one of the demons and revealing a major plot point. Talk about massive character development. Now coming in the first spot is Attack on Titan Final Season Part 2. This was supposed to be the final climax to the critically acclaimed Attack on Titan series. To many people who have read the manga, noticed that the anime left out the last 6 chapters, leaving many people thinking that they were going to end the series with a major cliffhanger. Fortunately, it has been confirmed that they will be finishing the last 6 chapters in Part 3 that will be coming out in 2023. So let's look over what had transpired in Part 2. Under the guidance of the Beast Titan, Zeke, Aharen takes extreme measures to end the ancient conflict between Marley and Eldia, but his true intentions remain a mystery. Meanwhile, the long feuding nations of Marley and Eldia utilize both soldiers and titans in a brutal race to eliminate the other. Reiner Braun uses his own powers in a desperate bid to hold off Ahren's own militaristic force and his fellow Eldians. Children Falco Grice and Gabby Braun struggle to survive in the unfolding chaos. Elsewhere, Ahren's childhood friends Mikasa and Armin remain imprisoned alongside Ahren's former Survey Corps companions, all disturbed by Ahren's monstrous transformation. Under the blind belief that Aharen still secretly harbors good intentions, Mikasa and the others enter the fray in an attempt to save their friend's very soul. Man, I just can't wait to see the very final season of Attack on Titan Part 3 in 2023. This was an awesome winter season for 2022, and spring is looking like it's going to be a big hit as well. So let's take a quick look at animes that will be premiering in April. Starting with Kaguya-sama, Love is War, Ultra Romantic, Season 3, will air on April 8th. Spy X Family will air April 9th along with Shikamori's Not Just Cute. Ascendance of a Bookworm, Season 3 begins April 11th, and A Couple of Cuckoos will air April 23rd. These are just some of the animes that will be airing this spring, with many more popping up. So before we go, let's take a quick look at other animes that have been announced that will come out later this summer 2022. Starting with The Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting, which will start airing July 7th. Next up is Engage Kiss, which was announced for July. Now a really good harem anime, A Harem in the Fantasy World Dungeon, was also announced for July. Now time for a cool vampire anime named Call of the Night is scheduled for this July. Overlord Season 4 will be premiering sometime in July. With that, it looks like we're going to have an awesome year full of really cool animes. Until next time, Reina-chan signing out.